Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss about Azure DevOps interview questions. This session covers very basic and beginner-friendly topics, but at the same time, it also goes into practical real-time concepts which are important when you are preparing for interviews. When interviewers ask why organizations adopt Azure DevOps, the best way to explain is not just to say it is a DevOps tool, but to talk about the value it provides. Azure DevOps brings source control, pipelines, artifacts testing, and project management all into one platform. This helps teams collaborate better, automate deployments, and release faster with less manual effort. In real-time projects, one of the most common requirements is automating infrastructure provisioning. For that, Terraform is widely used. Instead of manually creating resources in the portal, we describe everything in code. The code is reusable, consistent, and version controlled. In large projects, we normally structure Terraform into modules. For example, there might be a network module, a virtual machine module, and a storage module. Each environment, such as development, test, and production, has its own configuration. The state file is stored securely in an Azure storage account with state locking enabled so that multiple people do not overwrite each other's work. Now, you might get a follow-up question about why Terraform alone is not enough. The reason is that Terraform is excellent for provisioning resources, but once the virtual machines are created, we often need to install software, configure services, or apply security hardening. This is where Ansible fits in. It is agentless, and it allows us to automate configuration tasks. For example, in one of my projects, we used Terraform to create the virtual machines and then used Ansible playbooks to install Nginx, configure monitoring agents, and enforce firewall rules. This combination of Terraform and Ansible gave us end-to-end automation. When we integrate this automation into Azure DevOps pipelines, the process becomes even more powerful. A typical pipeline will have multiple stages such as initialization, validation, planning, and applying. Secrets are never hard-coded in the pipeline. Instead, we connect the pipeline with Azure Key Vault. For production environments, we always configure manual approvals before the apply stage. This ensures that no accidental or unreviewed changes reach production. Repository and branching strategy is another common discussion point in interviews. In a well-designed setup, the repository usually contains separate folders for modules, environments, Ansible playbooks, and pipeline definitions. The branching strategy we follow is that the main branch always holds production-ready code. A developed branch is used for integration and testing, and developers create feature branches for new changes. When a developer completes their work, they raise a pull request. The pull request requires reviewers to approve it, and a validation pipeline runs automatically. This process enforces discipline and reduces the chances of broken code reaching production. Real-time issues are also something that interviewers like to check. One example is with Terraform state files. We faced a problem where two developers ran the pipeline at the same time, which caused conflicts. The solution was to enable blob lease-based state locking in Azure storage. Another issue was related to provider version mismatch between environments, which we fixed by pinning the provider version in the Terraform configuration. In another case, sensitive outputs like passwords were being printed in pipeline logs. We solved this by marking them as sensitive so that they are masked during execution. Finally, interviewers often ask about rollbacks and governance. Rollbacks are handled by using the Terraform state file, keeping backups of the last known good state, and using strategies like blue-green deployments for applications. Governance is achieved through branch policies, mandatory code reviews, and approval gates in Azure DevOps pipelines. This ensures that changes are always reviewed, validated, and approved before reaching production. That brings us to the end of this session. If you have any specific questions that you have come across and you want us to make you understand or explain in a better way, please do let us know. If you have further queries or would like to join our job ready sessions, please ping us on WhatsApp or email us. Thank you again for watching.